Perek Nun. Perek Nun is a Naya Matthias in Ganzen. Yeah, we've been talking about different types of Ahava. Correct? That's what we talk about. Different types. From Lamed Ches, he says, Mitzvah b'lei kavonah, guf b'lei neshama. He gives us different types of Ahava, different types of Yira. He even speaks about Teveres, Rachamim, and Nishikin, and so on. The last four prakim, Memvav, Mazayim, Ches, Memtes, was Ahava, Kamayim, Aponim, Leponim. But in these four prakim itself, there's two sugyas. Memvav and Mazayim are the Ahava, Kamayim, Aponim, Leponim, because the Eibush favors us. And Memches and Memtes was Kamayim upon him because of Avad Chak Sabasa. Hashem squeezes himself for Yachol, we should squeeze ourselves. Perek Nun is a new Ahava. It's an Ahava of what he calls Yisem Takberes Azov ala Kesef. It's an Ahava which comes from Gevura as opposed to coming from Chesed. Let me say several things by way of introduction. Number one, at the end of the last Perek, Memtes, the Rebbe spoke about a person squeezing himself and developing his Dabkis Rucha Berucha. And he said the way you do it is through Teda. In Perek Memvav he spoke about Teda and Mitzvahs. The bottom line is, when you love Hashem, the way you have Hashem is through Yiddishkeit. The point of Perek Nun, in the simplest of terms, is that no matter how intense your Ratzah is, you have to have a Shuv. Perek Nun is going to describe the most extreme Ratzah. Ratzah Kalei Nefesh. And he's going to say, bottom line is, there's never an excuse for the Ratzah not bringing you to a Shuv. In other words, if you will, in all the prakim before, all the Avas, even the Ava Rabbah, even the Ava Tanugim, there never was an idea that we're dealing with the Ava that so completely consumes a person that arguably affects, they shouldn't be able to function in a Shuv type way. And then the Rebbe says, no, has to be Shuv anyway. That's basically the Chiddush of Perek Nun. Basically, that we're going to talk about an Ava where your mamash going out of your kelim completely. And you're told, Shuv le'echad, come back into Tachtein. What is the model, if you will? What is the form to describe this Ratzah without Shuv? That you push it going out of your kelim. You're going out of your kelim. How come you're going out of your kelim? Because the Ava is not only Mayim. When the Ava is only Mayim, in other words, when the Ava is only Amidas HaChesed, strictly Chesed, Chesed Sheba Chesed, it's in kelim. Since over here in this Ava there's also Eish and Takbeidus, so it's going past limitations of the kelim. This is why this Av is unique, that it has a quality of Kaleis HaNefesh, and you have to say Shuv Li'echad. This is the gist of Perek Nun. So let's now begin. Perek Nun V'hinei. So I told you two things basically, right? That the message is that it has to be Shuv, and Ratzah is not good enough. And the uniqueness of this Perek is it's describing an Av of Kaleis HaNefesh, because it's going out of kelim completely because of this quality of Eish. V'hinei. Kol b'chinus u'madreges Ava Hanal, all the levels, the measures and steps of Ava described earlier, including Ava Rabba Rabba Tanugim. Hey Mithita, the Yamina coming from the right side, the b'chinus Kain Ish Chesed. It's the quality of Kain, which is a man of Chesed, top of page 140. V'nikra Kesev HaKadoshim, it's called holy silver. And silver is Ahava. Miloshin, as the Pasuk says, Nich Seif Nichsaf Tolaveis Avicha, you desire and love to come to your father's house. So Kesev denotes Ahava. Now what's the deal? The deal is, Ahava means I want Elikus. And I've explained this to you already, that the translation of the word Ahava means, wanting Elikus means I don't have it. You don't want what you already have. Ahava means I want. That's why Ava Tanugim is arguably oxymoronic. Ava Tanugim, I want pleasure, I already have it. So it's not a discussion for right now. Why do I want it? Because of Kesef. Later the Rebbe is going to use the term Mayim. I'm drawn to it. There's a cleaving, there's a dveikos between me and Elikus, which is really a natural thing. How much am I wanting Elikus? The amount that my nature is drawn to Elikus. The way I would articulate this is to say that every level of Ahava, if it's only Chesed, if it's only Mayim, is in the Kelim. I only love Hashem as much as my Kelim can love Hashem. My Kelim may be huge. And therefore my Ava could be an Ava Rabbah, an Ava Mites, an Ava Tanugim, but if it's only Mayim, I'm not plutzing, I'm not going out of my Keli. This is the size of my Keli, that it wants Elikus so much to the point of Ava Rabbah, but it's Mayim. Mayim means it's not hyper, it's not going out of my Akbalas, it's not Kaleis HaNefesh. Achash Eid Bechinas Ava. There's a higher Madrega of Ava. Ha'ela al Kulon. It's higher than all the Avas we discussed earlier, because this is an Ava of going out of your Keli. And therefore, it's Kamal Hazav ala Kesef. The advantage of gold over silver. Gold is red, and it's a denotation, it's an indication of Gevures. And the point of Gevur over here is that it's not enough that I love Hashem in a way of Mayim, means say my nature of attractiveness, of pull, makes me love Hashem to the degree that I'm drawn. But there's a fire, there's a bren, I'm going out of limitations. Kamal Hazav ala Kesef, like the advantage of gold over silver. It's fire, it's a love. like fiery coals, but not ordinary Ava Kiddush B'Yesh. Because we already had the Ava Kiddush B'Yesh in Perek Tes and other places. This is Ava Kiddush B'Yesh, which is B'chinas Gvuras Al-Yenis the Bina Allah. It's supernal strength which comes from the higher Bina. Now, Bepashtus, when he says Bina Allah, he means his abundance, as you'll see in a moment. In other words, how do you get to Ava Kiddush B'Yesh that's being described here, which is the mouth of Allah Kesef, through his abundance. But I think he also means that we're talking about a different Madrega of Rish B'Yesh. It's a Rish B'Yesh which is not the Eidos B'Kelim, a Rish B'Yesh which is higher than Eshtashos, Rish B'Yesh of Bina. The Vahainu. And how do you get this Ava, which we're going to see momentarily, is called Kalei Nefesh, going out of the Keli completely, which is what the Gevura adds to it. It's also Shaidei is Bonaras. It happens to Taka is Bonaras. But you're not being misbained in how kind Hashem is, and Hashem gives you all this stuff, and Kamayim upon him, and so forth. But rather, you're not thinking about what Hashem gives you and what Hashem made, you're thinking about the truth of the Eibishter. Begdula saying, the greatness of the Ein Sof. The Kulak makes la mamish chashiv, everything in comparison to the Ein Sof is mamish like nothing. And you're focusing on the infinity of the Eibishter. And in effect, tislahet v'tislahet v'nefesh. The soul is engulfed and inflamed. Liyikar teferez gidulase. To experience the beauty of the honor of the beauty of the greatness of the Eibishter. Uliistakola, to actually be able to see and experience biyikara, the malka, the glory of the Eibishter. And this desire is kirish be'esh al heves, like fiery coals that have a flame az that's very intense. Ha'el al which is ascending upwards, to go out of the wick and the fire. Says the Rebbe in his footnotes. The wick goes on machshava, which means teira, and fire goes on dibur and maisa, which means the mitzvahs. And here you're dealing with a fire that's running away from the wick and the wood. It's going out of all limitations. Which is being held down by. And this is, it is an overpowering of the element of fire in the divine soul. Ava is Mayim. Here, the Mayim is being overpowered by Eish. So the Rish Be'esh here is a totally different Rish Be'esh. It's a Rish Be'esh, not Oiros Be'kelim, where I'm so filled with Ava for the Eibishter that it's intense. But the Rish Be'esh, which is breaking the limitations of my own Midas Ava, which is a Midah of Kamayim. Now, Yisakola B'ikara the Malka is a very important term. It means to look at the Eibishter. To look at the Eibishter means to have a clarity about Alakus, which is comparable to seeing, but it's not becoming one with the Eibishter. It's the Iyar, like the Iyar the Chochmah. The Iyar is a very high Madrege, but the Iyar is an overwhelming Madrege. It's not a Pnimi. I can't take it into me. I can just see it and be wowed by it. It can be bittled by it. There's another Madrege which is called Leishtab of Aguf of the Malk, which means to become one with Alakus. The Shtab of Aguf of the Malk is more Pnimi than Leistakor of the Malk, and Bepashtis Leistakola B'Kor the Malk is higher Madrege. The Madrege of Alakus you could become one with is Avakamayim. The Madrege of Alakus, which you cannot become one with, higher than Mayim, from Eish, you can't become one with it, you can only look at it. Leistakola B'Kor the Malka. And this term, Leistakola B'Kor the Malka, was also mentioned in Tanya Perek Tes, and perhaps it was hinted to Tanya Perek Memhei. But here too, it's a higher histakos. So here it's a histakos of going out of all kelim and all agmos. And the result is as follows: 3 Madreges. Umizeh bond, this brings, number 1, leads him on to a thirst. Your person is thirsty for Hashem, which means to say he is unsatisfied, he's always hungry, he's always thirsty, he's always desperate. Number 2, the person is sick from his want for alakus. It's not that I want alakus, but I'll manage. I'm sick because I have to go out of all my limitations. And finally, the person comes to kalesa nefesh, where the neshama is leaving the guf, and it's going away, not just from pizza with extra cheese, it's going away from the psil of ha'etim, it's going away from machshava, dibur, and ma'aseh teira mitzvahs. As the pasuk says, gam kol nafshi. My soul's also going kalesa nefesh. Parenthesis, v'hinei, mikan yatsa. This idea explains Sheirish al-Leviyim Lamata, the root of the Leviyim Lamata, that the Leviyim's avoid is Gevuras. And ultimately the root of the Leviyim is a Gevuras, which is Tagberes Hazov ala Kesem, Gevuras ala Chasadim, where my Mayim is inflamed. My love is not just my nature, no matter what it is, but it is a fire element to it also. And therefore the Rebbe says in the parenthesis, when Mashiach comes, the world will be uplifted, they're going to be Kain. And the Rebbe writes in his footnotes that this means that the neshamas of the Levim will be nizgalgal, will be born to the children of Kainim, so that Kainim will have this ma'atak beiris. There will still be Ahava. Kainim always Ahava, but it will be an infinite Ahava, an Ahava of Kalesa Nefesh. Arizal explains, Al Pazav Kainim al Levim. Shal Levim shal Achav, Yo Kainim liyasad Levim of now will be born to Kainim Lasad Lavi. There'll still be Kain Isha Chesed, but Chesed with the Takbeiris as opposed to Maya. Because what was the job of Levim? To lift up a voice of singing and thanks. B'shir of Azimah with music and singing. B'nigun and Imah with singing and sweetness. B'chinas Ratzu with running to Elokus. And that afterwards it brings to a Veshuv. But it's this powerful love. He shall have it like a flame, a yetim and a bozak that comes out from a bozak. Bozak means a spark or hitting a hammer against a rock. Says the Alter Rebbe, I have a concession to make. It's very difficult for me to explain this in a written form. What I mean when I say Ava B'Tagberes. And again, the Nekuda is, this is, you ever heard the expression, going out of Kalim, that's this. Every Ava Tilma, including Ava Rabba, including Ava Tanugim, in some way Kalim. And therefore it's called Mayim, Chesed Alon. This is going out of the Kalim. Rakbot, Kol Ish Nilva V'Novin Amaskil Aldov. Any person who's got a heart and understands and is also intuitive in understanding things. Umaimek and delves deeply. Lakasha Daitif and Osei Bad Hashem to bind his das and tun in the Eibishtet. Yimsa Tev will find goodness. Ve'era Gonas Benafsha Amaskelos, and a light which is hidden in his intellectual soul, his creative soul. Kol Chadla from Meshuvah, each one according to his measure. Yesh Mispal Chuli. Yesh Mispal Chuli. People react to different things. And the nekuda of the reaction of Peirik Nun is that it's going out of Kalim, fire. And of course, for it to be Yiddishkeit, it has to be Acharei Kedimas Yiras Chet. After that first Yiras Chet, like it says in Tanya Perik Mamalef. Liyasur Merah B'Tachlas, to stay completely away from Ra. Shali Leili Yisrael V'Sechem Avdilim V'Chol Davedas should not be an obstacle. And after you have this Yira, then you can come to this Ava of going out of Kalim completely. That's the end of the Shir.